Imagine waking up on your wedding day feeling extremely bloated. This is pretty much every bride's worst nightmare come true. Bloating is something that is a little bit uncontrollable and you don't always know when it's going to occur, but if you're smart, there are things you can do to stop it. Today we're going to teach you those tips that you can use to combat bloating so that you can zip your wedding dress up with ease. I'm Shannon Clark with SkinnySexyBride.com. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about what you can do to combat this bloating that some people will experience. Especially since you're a woman, you know that around certain times of the month you are very bloated. The first thing that you should be doing is making sure you're drinking enough water. As a busy bride, this can get tricky at times. You're rushing around and you may not think about always drinking enough water as you should. Especially if you're also running and grabbing coffees on the go, or say you're having alcoholic beverages, you're meeting with people, doing whatever you might be doing. All of this could be causing you to dehydrate yourself and only increase the amount of bloating that you experience. This may seem a little bit counterintuitive. You think, oh, if I'm dehydrating myself, I should be less bloated, but sometimes it's the opposite that happens. The more water you put in, the more water you'll flush out of your system, and the leaner you're going to look. So that's very important. I would recommend on the 3 or 4 days before your wedding that you're making sure you're drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. You really want to be looking at clear fluids here. Teas will count as long as they're herbal teas without caffeine. And even a lot of fruits and vegetables, those as well have quite a bit of water, so you can start eating some of those and that will help out with the problem. Now speaking of vegetables, that brings us to the next point. You don't want to overdo it here. If you're eating cups and cups of vegetables each day trying to fill yourself up because you're on such a low-calorie diet, this could cause a lot of problems with bloating. Some fiber is good, a huge amount of fiber is not so good, so you need to make sure that you're keeping it under control. Try and have a cup or so of vegetables 3 or 4 times a day depending on what your meal schedule is like, and that will help give you enough but not have you dealing with all these bloating issues that could arise. The third thing that you should do to help decrease the amount of bloating that you could be suffering from when you wake up on your wedding day is to back a little bit off of your workout sessions. It's important that you do some light exercise, but you don't want to overdo it. If you're doing very stressful workouts on the days before your wedding, you're actually going to cause some inflammation to take place in the body. This is the natural response that the body has whenever you're doing those intense workout sessions, simply because you're creating all the little muscle tears and everything that basically the workout is trying to achieve, which is normally a good thing, but before you're getting ready for your wedding day and you want to look nice and lean and tight, it's not going to be the best thing for you. So instead, do some light exercise, as that will help with bloating, but keep it light. Don't push yourself too hard and you'll look a lot better because of it. And then the final thing that you want to be kind of paying attention to as you get closer to your wedding day is just the amount of hidden salt you're eating. Most brides are very good with regulating the amount of table salt they're using. They realize that adding, 5 or 6 shakes to every meal probably isn't going to be the best thing if you're looking to slim down your waist. But what you want to start thinking about is other foods you might be eating that have a very high amount of sodium. And a lot of times these foods, they slip right under your radar and you don't realize that you're eating them and that they just have this much sodium and it's really jacking your intake up there. So look at any canned foods for one. That's definitely a dead giveaway that usually these are high in sodium. And also consider things like chocolate puddings. Those have a lot of sodium. Snack foods, you should be trying to limit the amount of processed snack foods you eat anyway, but these are another source of sodium in the diet. And also any condiments or spices and herbs are generally okay, but spices, be extra careful with those. You can buy a lot of sodium-free spices out there, so look at those rather than your normal mixtures, which usually have a high amount of salt. So pay attention to that, and if you follow those 4 tips, then you shouldn't have to deal with bloating on your wedding day. I'm Shannon Clark with SkinnySexyBride.com. Make sure you check back regularly as we give you more great tips on what you can do to make sure you look your best on your wedding day.